Hey everyone, I wanted to share some thoughts with you all about an experience that I had that was quite profound for me. It changed the way that I think and do a lot of things quite a few years ago. And it was at an event that I was at with someone a few years back, and it was by a motivational speaker by the name of Pat Mesiti. So a shout out to Pat. But first, I want to tell you what prompted me to share the experience. So I have a lot of people that I talk to, and I hear all the time about people saying, when I get this, then I'll do that, or when I achieve this, I'll then be able to do that. And it prompted two thoughts in my mind. One is about investing in yourself, and the second one is about understanding the journey and the process, not necessarily just the outcome, as critical as the outcome is for us all. So I'm going to ramble a little bit, but I want to tell you this event that I was out. Now, many years ago, before I started doing a lot of personal development and investing, I was just a guy in business with huge debts and mortgages and loans and all kinds of crazy things going on. And some weeks doing really well, some years doing really well, others not so. But I always had a drive for more, and it wasn't just money. It wasn't just about having more money or finance. It was about, I wanted to grow, I wanted to experience. There was always something inside of me that challenged the way that we thought and the restrictions that a lot of other people, imposed on themselves and on me. So I was doing some investing, and I made a commitment. I spent a lot of time traveling down, location-wise. I had to fly to Brisbane from where I live now, and there was a lot of time to get the proximity that I needed. And I remember the first event that I went to, and sorry, not the first event because I'd been to many events, but the first event that cost me a lot of money, and it was $5,995 for a 2-day event. And I can remember specifically just how long I procrastinated about going to this event because of that money, pulling the wallet out of the pocket. And I know the point in our life is that, we'd been doing well in business, but we'd gone through a transition period and we weren't doing really well at this point. Part of me knew that I needed to step up, I needed to invest and go to the events and learn and get proximity to other people and just keep pushing through. But the other part of me up here was in, no, you don't need to do that. It was in fear basis. What if you go and you don't get a result? What if the event's terrible? What if the speaker's terrible? What if the content's not there? What if? And the reality of all of that fear was, what if I don't follow through? Or what if I don't take action? Or what if I sit there and talk about the 99% of the event that may be terrible and not the 1% that may have a life-changing, breakthrough or reality in it? So, look, eventually I got the money, and we put it down and we went to this event, and it was fantastic. From there, we invested. And that wasn't the event that I actually want to tell you about, but that was the process. And eventually I was at this event that cost a lot more than that. I remember the event. It was a $32,000 property event that I did. And during this course of this event, they brought in a motivational speaker from the Gold Coast named Pat Mesiti. And Pat came up on stage, and one of the things that he was talking about in psychology and mindset, well, I didn't know what he was talking about at the time, but we went through this experiment. So if you can imagine this, there was, I think there was about 150 people in the room, because it was as I said, it was quite an expensive event to be at. And Pat got up stage, and he actually took a wad of cash, and I don't know how much it was, but I know it was full of plenty of $50 notes and quite a few greenies in there as well. And he literally threw it on stage, and that created a bit of a frenzy. And a couple of people actually jumped on the stage and started grabbing wadfuls of money, picking it up. And Pat then went back, and after we stopped everyone and everyone got off stage, he grabbed this guy who had grabbed fistfuls of money. So we went through a process where everyone else in the audience was sitting down, and I'll show you visually, but he got this guy with a heap of money and stood him on stage and said, look, I want to go through a bit of a process with you, and what I want you to do is grab this money in your fist and squeeze it tightly and just hold it out in front of you. I want you to stand up on stage and hold it out. So the guy did this, and this process went for about 10 minutes. And Pat kept talking, and he kept on talking about investing and personal development and growth and psychology and mindset. And the particular session, we were also covering a lot of energy and energy flows. And it was about, you know, the mindset and the psychology that you create will determine what flows in and out of your life at particular times. So, but the curious thing about this whole situation was that every time Pat walked past the guy with money, who's now standing proud on stage with his wad of maybe, you know, $500, there was, you know, a fair bit of money in there. And every time Pat walked past, he'd just go over to the guy and just do this, try and grab the money out of this guy's hand. And of course, you could see white knuckling, you know, he was squeezing, he wasn't letting this cash go, and for good reason. So we went through this exercise a little bit, and I know Pat went past many, many times trying to grab the cash, and this guy hung on to it. With a bit, I remember the guy's grin too. He's like, "You're not getting this cash out of my hands." So after a while, Pat asked permission and said, "Look, I want to keep going with this, but I want to blindfold you, and I want you to really listen to what I'm saying." So we blindfolded this guy. And you've got to remember that there's cash all over the floor as well at this stage. So Pat kept talking, and now the gentleman with the money can't see. So he's got this handful of cash, and every time Pat walked past, first few times he was, you know, grabbing at this guy's hand to grab the money. But then what proceeded to happen was that he would grab some money off the stage, and every time he walked past this gentleman, instead of trying to grab the money out, he was actually trying to shove more 50s and 100s in this guy's hand. And he proceeded to do that, and every time he couldn't put money in this gentleman's hand, he gave it to someone in the audience. So it was an interesting story. As you can imagine, a whole heap of cash from the stage disappeared, and there's heaps of people in the audience getting rewarded. And I know specifically there was a couple of people there who walked away with a couple of $1,000. And at the end of it, the guy on the end of the stage still had his wad full of cash, which was probably about $500. Now, there's more to that story, but what's the lesson in that? The lesson in that is about investing in yourself. And if you are so reluctant to let go of what you've got with the possibility to get something else and grow and learn from it, you're always going to have just what you've got now. You're never going to have any more. So not saying you won't flow and energy will come and money will come and money will go, but if you want to really get ahead, you've got to invest in yourself. Now, I'm not just talking financially. I'm not just talking a wad of cash. But it is one of the common questions I talk to about all the time. And it's about, when I get this, I'll do that. And people say to me all the time, "Look, I just need to generate this before I can work with you, Paul, because of your fees, or I just need to do this before I can contribute back, or I want to do this for my parents, and I'll do it when I do that." The reality is that doing that comes first. It's not always about when you get there. You've got to start to love the journey and enjoy the process and learn money is just energy, and how you think of it and how you feel of it will restrict how it's coming in and how it's going out of your life. And I guarantee that you're not going to be able to open your hands up and receive if you're not willing to give and let go.